Hi. I hope that you're having a good day. I know that you're blessed. I know that you are, because the universe is blessing right now. If you're watching this, then you're in some sort of energy. You might not realize it. If you don't realize it, take a little bit of time to. If you are coming in here not realizing that you're blessed, this probably isn't the space for you. Getting into your own space where you can recognize that you're blessed would be best. Because you certainly are. We all are. There's incredible things happening. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I don't know why my mouth is having a hard time articulating. There are incredible things happening in the universe and in the world today. And despite all odds, you know, there's so many things that you could let yourself worry about, but those things are supposed to happen. Anything that happens is supposed to happen. It's for you to embrace. There is a great abundance coming, great abundance on our way. And as always, those that have eyes, let them see, and those that have ears, let them hear. Those that have hearts to receive, let them receive. The goodness of God, the mercies of the universe, the grace that is being bestowed upon all of us at this time for these great works. A new world, a new life is upon us, and it's worth embracing. So again, if you aren't feeling in a positive energy coming in here, if you're not, in a space to be able to receive those things positively, then take some time right now just to sit with yourself. Instead of listening to me, instead of taking however much time is going to be on this video to listen to me, take some time to listen to yourself. Take some time to sit with yourself in the quiet of the day. If you want to put on some meditation music, if that would be helpful, but I think it'd be best just to sit in silence, to sit with yourself, to focus on your breathing, to listen to your own heartbeat, to really sit inside of your body and to feel yourself and to recognize yourself as being quite present, and to embrace that. And, let any of the negativities that come to you, any of the pains or ailments in your body or your mind, just kind of float away from you. Release those things, and embrace the fullness of yourself. Embrace this idea that you are blessed. Tell yourself, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. I know that I am blessed. I am so thankful to be so blessed. I am so thankful to be able to sit here, to be able to have this time, to be able to have this body, to be able to be this person, to be able to come into myself in this time and space. Let gratitude fill your soul, let gratitude fill your heart, and let it move from within you, outside of you. Embrace all that there is to embrace. Even if you are feeling like you have very little to be thankful for, let that be your guide. Let your body in of itself and its capacity to be able to appreciate its own experience be your guide. And take that time, whatever time you see on the video right now that you were going to give to me, please give to yourself. If you're in a space where there's a specific thing that you're looking for, a specific answer that you have on your heart, if you feel drawn to this video for a very specific reason, I am not trying to deter you. By all means, then this is where you're supposed to be. But if you're coming in here feeling like I'm just lost and I'm lonely and I'm feeling like I just want to connect with somebody, or, because any answers that I have for you, the universe is just using me as a tool to give to you. You actually have access to these things yourself. I'm only a guide to try to hopefully teach you how to be able to access those things for yourself. And ultimately, everything's moving through me and through my personal bias. So it'd be best for you to be able to do those things on your own, really. And, you know, if you're just in here to support me, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And if this is entertaining for you, if it brings you a sense of peace, if it brings you a sense of enjoyment, a sense of security in those types of ways, by all means, that's exactly the right energy. But if there's something deep in your soul that you are looking for, as much as I would hope that you could find it through me, if you can't find it anywhere else, I really just want to encourage you to spend some time by yourself in order to bring that to yourself, and to not look for it through me, and to not look for it through anyone else, but to be able to come into your own that way to receive those things. And if you're in here for any reason to just like see what I'm up to, hear what I have going on in my life, see what kind of energy I'm in, so you can try to do whatever it is that you do with it, you're free to leave. I don't need you here. I don't really want you here. I mean, do as you please, but do recognize that anything that you're doing coming into my personal space, into the work that I'm doing spiritually with any sort of ill intent, is only bringing in your karma. It's only guiding in negativity for you. Anything that you're trying to put out to me negatively is not something I'm receiving, and it's something that's being sent directly back to you. So any sort of weird energy that's in here trying to take from me what is rightfully mine, just stand on your own 2 feet. Recognize what is rightfully yours and embrace that. Let it rise to the occasion. If you can put me on any sort of pedestal that I have something that you want, it's only because you're not taking the time to truly recognize what you have. If you can recognize it in me, it's already yours. So, you know, keep those things. Take those things. Again, I'm just a tool. So anything that you could possibly receive through me it's just through me, but it isn't me that you're receiving. It's the universe through me, and ultimately you, a reflection of you. I am only a reflection of you. Okay, thanks. With that, I do hope any blessings for anyone that is here, and that's here, you know, for whatever reasons. I mean, I don't want to dissuade people. If there is a message here for you, and it's still resonating with you, and if you're still here watching, then I pray that there is a message here for you, and that you're able to receive it properly, and that it serves you well. You know, I just don't care to be the catalyst for other people's excuses with the universe, or, you know, the reason that they're getting negative karma. It isn't really on me, but, you know, I'd prefer to see people being able to be blessed by these things. That's really not on me. You're right. That's me trying to control too much. Okay, let's just get into the reading. Sorry. Okay, so I have 2 cards that came out face down and 1 card that came face up. Okay, so we're starting with the 4 of Pentacles, Lord of Earthly Power. The 4 of Pentacles being a balance, being a completion of cycles. The Lord of Earthly Power is giving me this feeling of the elements, fire, earth, wind, water. It's also giving me, this image in of itself is giving me the feeling of the medicine wheel in Native tradition, which is white, red, black, and yellow. And it is to denote the elements as well as the spirit in our capacity as a human being to be able to receive of those things, of the balance of nature, and of the balance of self, and of the balance of spirit that moves through all things. A completion of cycles, which also is denoting a new beginning, but we're not moving into that yet. 5 would be to be grounded in oneself in order to begin this new beginning. 4 is kind of being able to just, okay, we did it. We did it. It's like that little in-between after you just crossed the finish line prior to receiving your award for it, sort of deal, right? This is like water drinking time, I'm reminded. This is a time of replenishment that way, energetically. I'm going to turn these both over. We have the Wheel of Fortune and the Three of Swords, both in the upright. I'm showing them this way because the way, obviously, that I'm pulling them is like this. So this is how they appear to me. From this angle, this one is looking like the Millennium Falcon. That's the energy that I got, even though it's actually the card that's on the cover of this box. I haven't actually seen this one in this deck. I haven't seen either of these cards in this deck yet. But obviously I look at this one all the time because it's on the cover, or it's on, you know, of the actual deck, the box. However, I haven't really looked at it as a card, and I haven't seen the Millennium Falcon in it prior. And so in that, like, as I'm getting this Millennium Falcon energy, I'm getting, that's the craft that we use to do our bidding, and it's something that we've taken great pride in. I don't fully remember, don't be mad at me if you're a big Star Wars fan, because I've actually only seen the movies once, so I don't fully remember, but I kind of recall, like, it being very old, because he's had it for some time, and it's like his trusty steed, right? But it needs some work. And it's almost like, as much as it's always been his, kind of his, not his namesake, but it's like been the thing that's allowed him to maintain his name that way. As it starts to break down and need work, it's almost done the opposite, right? We're like, the very vehicles that we use metaphorically to energetically, right, spiritually, to make a name for ourselves, to build on our success, to reach our points of success, if not properly cared for, or even just over time with use, they require upkeep, and they require, you know, different types of evolution and care. You have to kind of keep adding to, you know, replacing different parts, different things like that. And if you don't do those things, then those very vehicles that led us to our success can just as easily kind of guide us away from it. It's so crazy because, like, I love my car so much, but, like, that's the message I'm getting, is like, maybe I just need to sell my car. I love her. It literally, like, probably my favorite vehicle I've ever had. It's a 94 Honda station wagon. I love it so much. And it has a bumper sticker that has Sasquatch on it. And it has a bumper sticker that says, "Don't honk at me, my dad is dead." And I love it so, so much. But I have been feeling lately like maybe it's not serving me. Maybe I don't need it right now. Maybe there's something better coming for me. And I'm pretty sure that even happens. I swear he keeps the Millennium Falcon forever because it's like such an iconic thing. But it's like, maybe it's like he, like a new one, or like it somehow gets like fixed up super nicely in a way that makes it like it's brand new, or just makes it end up so much better than it was. I can't really quite remember, but that's the energy that I'm getting from these things, is one, being willing to let go, but also to recognize that those things may need work, that, like I said, like the same energetic or spiritual vehicles that we've used to reach success may not continue serving us the ways that they always have. And it's about being able to reprioritize, reassess those things, and reestablish what truly is in our best interest, so that we can continue always to move forward. Lord of the forces of life, and it's the Wheel of Fortune. This whole time I wasn't like fully paying attention. I was just thinking of the Millennium Falcon. But that is definitely that energy as well. Being able to trust that as the wheel turns, we're supposed to keep in motion. We're continuing to move with that wheel. lord of the forces of life, like we're, you know, taking in all of these different things, constantly reassessing so that our output can be within a balance so that the wheel can continue turning. Okay, and then the Three of Swords in the upright. These two swords are curved in opposition to each other, and then we have this sword straight in the middle. And it's funny because it actually is symbolized again right here, these crescent moons, but that was the image that I got right away to begin with. And it's cool that the one in the middle has the crescent moons, because it's almost this idea that, you know, there was a specific sword that used a specific way, served us a specific way, and led us to where we're at. There's also this other specific sword that is a specific way and that used a specific way has led us to where we're at. And what it's coming to is an accumulation of those things, a culmination of the energies and aspects of both of those things. You know, like it's like the crescent moon energy is like, well, and the way that it's in this card is that it's actually moving from the waning to the waxing. But there's a balance between those two. And which is interesting because I think it's often depicted as the feminine, but I'm seeing it as a more masculine energy that way. To move from the waning to the waxing and the balance in between. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just the way that life works. You know, so often part of what we're looking at is like, okay, so we're doing this specific work to move into the future, and then there's some specific destination, and that's success. And then there's what we do with that success, which I don't think a lot of people even consider. I think a lot of people have this concept of success in their minds, and that's supposed to be like the culmination of all things, and that's it. There isn't this idea of, once I reach that success, then what do I do with it? How do I move forward with it? What's the whole point of reaching that success in the first place? Just so you can feel some type of way? Maybe you don't need to go through that entire process and have all of those things and have everything lined up, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, in order to have that feeling. If it's just a feeling, maybe it's something that you can sit and begin to resonate within yourself without having to do anything else externally at all. That's something I've found more often than not. You know, well, if I just had a nicer car, if I just had a car that works, if I just had, you know, this much money to pay this bill, if I just had this house or this sense of security or these things or this status or whatever it is, this acceptance from society or from my family or from my desired partner, whatever those things are, that then I will feel this success. When really I was misidentifying what success truly was and what it consisted of. And getting to the core of those things, I realized that really it was just a feeling that I was lacking in myself, and that there's so many ways to give to ourselves what it is that we lack internally. And more often than not, what fulfills us internally is not external fulfillment, but internal fulfillment. In fact, that's what it is every single time. Now, sometimes there's key components to an external experience that'll open us up or allow us to reach what it is that we're looking for internally. But ultimately, if we are searching and coping outside of ourselves for some sort of internal stabilization, we end up like setting ourselves astray. We end up disconnecting from ourselves and then validating that, and then essentially creating karmic cycles. You know, we let that ego that is a part of us, but not us, identify itself as us, and then in the satisfaction of our ego, we convince ourselves that we are satisfied. Yet there is still this lack of fulfillment internally, and we don't know what that is because we're never actually getting to the core of it, which is why you can marry the perfect person and still not be happy. You can get that perfect job and still not be satisfied. You can pay all of your bills. You can have all of these things. You can have these things and still not feel like it's quite properly aligned. And that's because it wasn't about the things in the first place. It was about the way that you thought that you would feel in having those things. And in having those things, you realize that they aren't the things that actually give you that feeling. Your capacity to be able to receive the proper feeling is what you've actually been missing. And the only way that you can cultivate that is by doing an internal work. There isn't anything, no amount of external force is ever going to get you into that position. And so it's kind of that concept as well that like there is these external forces at work that are bringing us into a proper alignment, but ultimately it's going to come into integrating, like the 2 crescent moons here. It's going to come into integrating that into ourselves and then being able to apply that in an accurate way in order to really bring ourselves into that position. And so interestingly that this card is labeled the Lord of Sorrow. But again, I think that's speaking on this sense of lack that we tend to carry. And then, so much of our lives, like as a hospice care nurse, so many of my clients, and it's always so sad to see, but so many of my clients lived 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years carrying a deep sorrow in their souls because there wasn't a personal satisfaction. And all that they had their entire lives was identifying themselves by external standards, meeting those external standards, having all of these things externally validate those things, only to lose all of those things throughout the course of their life, losing their health, losing their family, losing their partners, losing their jobs, losing their capacity to be able to move, think clearly, any of those things. But they never lost themselves. They were still themselves, and themselves was all that they had when it brought them to that point of moving into the next life, right? And then they feel this deep sorrow that they were actually always just compounding, that they were actually always just making excuses for, that they were actually always just suppressing, and could do so because everything that they had identified should be the point of their satisfaction had been met. So they just suppress it. Well, I must be satisfied. I have a perfect family. I must be satisfied. I have a good paying job. I must be satisfied. I've been able to move into retirement and be cared for in my greatest time of need. Only to find, why don't I feel fulfilled right now? Why am I so scared to die? Well, because you don't know yourself. Because you are being expected right now to only hold your own hand as you walk into utter uncertainty, and you don't know yourself. So you don't feel safe grabbing your own hand and moving into that uncertainty. You've never embraced uncertainty. In fact, all you ever embraced was a very defined concept of what was certain to satisfy, and it hasn't. It's not that satisfaction doesn't happen in the moments, but it's not going to satisfy that internal sense of sorrow within us without us being able to cultivate these things and culminate these things into a true sense of self that is able to guide us. I want to go a little bit further in this, but apparently I didn't delete something because it's saying that I don't have any more space on the camera. So I'm going to stop this. This is just going to be part 1, and then I'm going to do a quick finish up, and this will probably end up being a pretty short reading. All right, so thank you, hold in there, and we will move to part 2.